Welcome to another video for chemistry. In this video we're going to complete precipitation reactions and taking a closer look as to how to use the solubility chart. So we're going to explore the reaction that we did in the previous video in part 2, and we're going to look at each one of these species and see how it relates to the solubility chart and how I can use the solubility chart to predict whether there will be a reaction or no reaction. And remember, I'm always looking to see if there's going to be a change of state, or on the solubility chart, I'm going to look to see if it's soluble, which means it will dissolve in aqueous solution, or if it's insoluble, and that means there will be no dissolving. It will be clumping together. There will be a solid that's created, a precipitate. Okay, so let's take a look at the first, barium chloride. Okay, so I see in my ionic equation that I can just tell by that they don't combine together. And also another tip is by looking at the aqueous, okay, aqueous symbol there, that there will not be a reaction. Well, like I mentioned before, in this particular video, we're going to be looking at each one of these species and seeing how we can look at the solubility chart to predict a reaction or not. So let's go to the first one. Alright, so I'm going to go to the solubility chart and I'm going to look for barium and chloride, and I have those squared in red already for us. And I will see where they meet on the chart, and I see that they're soluble. And of course I can tell already that, let me go back up, that it's soluble, so it will be aqueous. There will be no precipitate that will form. Now what happens when I mix sodium sulfate? Right? Sodium sulfate, aqueous. Well, here's sodium and here's sulfate, and they're both soluble when they combine. So that means they're going to be aqueous. Alright, now let's take a look at our product side, barium sulfate. If I look at barium and find sulfate, I find that this combination of atom and compound is insoluble, which means it will produce a precipitate. So it will produce a solid. So that's a solid state, and I can see here that it is in fact a solid state. Alright, let's look at our final part, our final mixture, which is sodium chloride, aqueous. So I find sodium and I find chloride, and it is soluble. So that means they will remain aqueous. Hopefully this helped you in figuring out how to use a solubility chart. I did use a solubility chart in my previous videos as well, so please go back and refer to those for extra help. And I hope you find that this is fairly intuitive, and that the solubility chart is very helpful in predicting whether a combination of atoms, cations and anions, will form a precipitate or not. Alright, well, good luck in your studying.